there. How's your day going today? I hope it's treating you right. However, I have a slight throat issue, but the show must go on, right? So let's get started. Let me take my tool for today, and that's my rainbow marker. All right? So, let me show you a tense that people get often confused with, but professionals use this tense all the time. What if I say I will finish the report? Okay, that sounds pretty normal, right? But what if I kind of modulate it to by 6 p.m. I will have been working on this report for 4 hours? Now, you can actually feel the effort, right? We are going to talk about today's, the topic for today that is future perfect continuous. All right, and what and how can you use this is when you talk about an action that will have been happening for a period of time that is before a future moment. Okay, that's the tense we are learning today. And when we talk about real life situations, you can always go ahead and use this particular tense whilst you're talking about a long effort, something that you've been doing from a long time. All right. Describing durations before a deadline. Now, that's our second point on the screen. The third is showing experience in the future. All right. Like if a person has got a certain amount of experience in regards to anything that they've been pretty much doing over the years, you also can use future perfect continuous there. And talking about ongoing work, very important because the ing form of verb comes in here along with your study in future or your future plans. Now, the key idea is duration of the action before a future point has to be kept in mind. What? The duration of action, in the sense, how long is this activity kind of taking place, or how long is this person doing this activity, all right, before a future point. Now, that is the key idea. Another important point to keep in mind is when to use it, or I also call as the, as the decision trigger. When do you really take the decision to use future perfect continuous? Obviously, when the action has started before, all right, and it continues for some time in the future, and you want to show exactly how long you've been working on this. All right. And the most important part is that we need to understand that it should lead up to a future moment. That is very important. Some common time frames that you can use while you are articulating future perfect continuous tense sentences are for, since, by, plus the future time. Okay. Yes. Now, even more important question, all right? A very valid question is when should I not use this tense? Is when you only want to talk about the result. At that point of time, you use future perfect. Don't use future perfect continuous, okay? When you only want to show the result of a certain activity. Now, if the action is too short and instant, that is like you're just taken a decision, it's simple future. All right, you're not going to use future perfect continuous. A very good trick to adhere to is to ask a shortcut question to yourself before you start making sentences is or in reference to future perfect continuous is, will this action be continuing for a period before that future time? That's something very important that you need to ask yourself. What are you going to ask yourself? Whenever your brain asks how long by that future time, then this tense appears. Is that you should ask yourself that will this action be continuing in the future, for a period of time? Only then I'm going to use future perfect continuous to describe my activity. Now, this is a very important point to keep in mind. Ask yourself this question. All right. Now let's look at the third section the third part of this lesson is meaning first. What do I mean by meaning first? Here, I just want you to understand that the perfect meaning of this tense, that is future perfect continuous. What do you mean by future? The focus is on duration somewhere, in the future, right? So future, it will be going on for some time before that future moment. Okay, the focus is on duration and not completion. Keep that in mind. What is the focus on? It is on duration, guys, not completion. Not completion, duration. Okay, the journey's length matter in the sense time phrases like by 9 p.m., for 3 hours, things like this. So, uh, feeling in the sense when you use this particular tense, that is future perfect continuous, it shows that you are putting a stress on ongoing effort, a long action possibly that's been continuing into the future, and the and some kind of experience that you already have experienced in your life. Okay, a mini example for today is I will have been studying for 3 hours by 9 p.m. What is the example? Try and understand. This person is telling someone that he will have been studying for 3 hours by 9 p.m. He's not yet, like, it's a long standing action. So that is why he's telling that by 9 p.m. already I have finished studying for 3 hours, but in the future time. All right. Now, let's quickly look at the sentence form or the formula, in fact. Uh, Let me just tell you something else before I talk about this, that this tense is not about finishing, all right? This tense is not about completion, it is only about duration. It shows time that has been invested, like work done or effort spent, etc. All right. Um, to give you a simple understanding, it is the difference between I did something and I have been working hard on something. Correct. So I did something is uh, different than I have been working hard on this. So I have been working hard on this is something that you have to refer to when you're using future perfect continuous. Now quickly let's look at the formula. Subject will have been, okay? However, your verb is in the ing form. Now this is the formula for you guys. Don't panic about the form. It's just that will have been plus the ing form of verb and your subject remains the same everywhere, right? Now that word been is the hero here. Without it, the tense is incomplete. Let's look at some examples. I will have been working. She will have been studying. They will have been living. Right here. Now, again, to kind of reinforce, I told you what is a negative form. In a negative form, you have an inclusion of this word that is not, right? That is subject plus will not have been, verb in the ing form. I will not have been sleeping by some time. Okay, so this is the negative form of this tense. Now, when you look at the question form, obviously I told you that the helping verb will take the primary position and the subject will take the secondary position, followed by have been and the verb in the ing form because it is continuous tense, right? So, will you have been waiting long for me? All right, was the conclusion for me? Yeah, for my next class. Will you have been waiting long for my next class? All right. So this is the kind of these are the kind of simple rules that we give out here at GKPro. However, I would want you to understand that there is only one thing that you need to keep in mind when you are attending these classes. All right. Obviously, they are free, but you need to understand that guided practice is also very important. When I draw this icon, that is, my favorite icon, that is pause around a circle, you need to pause and try to do what I tell you to do. That is, read these sentences aloud, guys, so that you understand what exactly is happening. That's the point, and that's the idea, right? So when I'm kind of talking about a formula, please pause the video and see the formula and read the sentence. Why? Because you'll be able to correlate with it. As simple as it gets. Okay. Now let's move on to three core patterns for today. Where is my cursor? Yeah, it's here. All right. Three core patterns. Now, when I kind of tell you core pattern usage, it means that you can either use any one of the pattern and talk in terms of that particular tense that we are talking about for that particular day. All right. So, pattern number one is duration plus future time. What do you mean by duration plus future time? Obviously, duration is the time, right? So, I will have been working for 5 hours by noon. Correct? Correct? The second example, she will have been. So this, see, till here, till where I'm trying to highlight, right? I'm trying to make a perfect rectangle for you guys. Yes, great. So she will have been studying. That's it. It's like, the builder form has been it's taken care of. The builder form, the sentence builder form is taken care of, or the formula has been taken care of here. However, you're adding duration plus future time. How are you going to form the sentence? She will have been studying. You can finish here. However, to go that extra mile, you just add for 2 years by December. See, for how many ever years or months by whatever time or any month or anything really, whatever you feel like or whatever you fancy. All right. Next, pattern number two. Use words like since and the starting point. Like, I will have been living here. See the form and relate with it. Subject plus will have been and verb in the ing form. All right. So I will have been living here since 2022 by next year. She will have been working here since Monday. All right. Since Monday. Let's just take this out. Not by Friday. Since Monday. All right. That's the way that you need to understand when I'm talking about core concepts or three core patterns. This particular section is under all the tenses that we spoke about earlier as well. Go ahead and catch them too. Now, let's look at pattern number three for today. Experience. I told you, right? This tense can be also used when you're talking in terms of your experience or your effort or your focus on something that you've been doing for a long time. Let's see. I will have been training hard for months. Look at this. This person is telling someone that uh, this is what he's going to do. Okay. But he's saying that I'll start now, but then even in the future, my training will go on. Easy to understand, right? Easy to understand, right? It says that I will have been training hard for months. Even after, let's add a month here, even after November, even after November, even if I add that sentence as well, it sounds correct. If I say, I will have been training hard for months, even after November or by November. All right, let's look at the next example. We will have been preparing for a long time. So your sentence builder form or your formula has been like, it's kind of done here. It's done. It's see done and dusted. You really don't have to worry about anything. But in order to go, uh, you know, that at that point wherein a person understands, okay, they are using phrases like for a long time, for months, by next year, by Friday, by December, for 2 years, for 5 years, or for 5 hours. These are all time bound phrases. What are these? Time bound phrases. So I really want you to use them, and I urge you to practice with these phrases on your in your daily life whilst you're conversating with anyone really. Okay, great. Quickly, let's look at the real life model lines, or very simply known as example, guys. So I'm truly sorry about my throat again. Oh, okay. But as I told you, the show must go on. So I'm just giving my best here. All right. So, daily life. In daily life, a sentence in reference to future perfect continuous will sound something like this. All right. I will have been waiting for 30 minutes by then. I will have been cleaning all morning. Okay. Work. This is something that they're talking about future. All right. They might have started a bit earlier, but they are saying that I will have been cleaning all morning. So this is something that they have uh, got a plan about, but then in the near future also it will be going on. So work. I will have been working on this project for weeks. She will have been attending classes regularly. Okay. I will have been traveling for hours by the time we arrive. We will have been talking for a long time. Right? It makes sense. So, what best again you can do? Pause the video and read aloud. Read these sentences aloud. Okay? So, another very important, extremely, let's not use very two times. I told you it's not appropriate. So, an extremely valid point to consider is the contrast corner, where we are going to show you, or pretty much I'm going to tell you, why exactly people go wrong when they are using future perfect continuous and what it can be mistaken with. Exactly. So it can be mistaken with, future perfect. But you need to know that future perfect means finished. Work is finished before that time. But future perfect continuous is what? Ongoing for a duration before that time. Still the action is ongoing. All right. Keep that in mind when it comes to future perfect continuous. Let's look at an example pair. I will have finished the task. This is result oriented very clearly. Future perfect tense. Okay. I will have been working ing form on the task for 3 hours by then. Duration based. So it is future perfect continuous. Am I clear? I hope I'm clear. That's what I pray for after every session. I do really think that I am trying my best to be clear. Hopefully, you guys are kind of relating with me on daily basis. So now let's go ahead and look at something very special. That is common mistakes. One of my favorite parts of the whole session. Okay, under any lesson really are the common mistakes. Why? Because we need to know where we are making these mistakes in order to correct ourselves. It's okay to make mistakes. It's pretty much human. You have to make mistakes. But learning about these mistakes is something that's really important when you're kind of looking at enhancing your or improving your language. Okay, so look at the screen. I'll let you know what exactly I'm talking about in terms of mistakes. As you can see, all right, as you can see that learners often make common mistakes when they use this particular tense, that is the tense that we are talking now, future perfect continuous, right? As I told you, understanding these mistakes can help you avoid them. Let's start with the first mistake. Using using this particular tense, that is future perfect continuous, with stative verbs. Like I mentioned this earlier as well. All right. It's typically not used with stative verbs. Instead, future perfect is used. Stative verbs means, knowing someone, believing someone, or having a kind of feeling for someone. These are the stative verbs, and in what state you are really. Okay, these are the stative verbs. So let's look at a incorrect statement. By next year, I will have been knowing him for 10 years. No, knowing him for 10 years. No, you cannot use future perfect continuous to tell that you know this person for for 10 years. So how do you correct this? Just by simply turning it into future perfect. That's all. Okay? Turning it into future perfect tense. By next year, I will have known him for 10 years. That's it. Okay. Still, there is time for this person to know the other person for 10 years. However, the result is completed. The action will be completed, you know, for 10 years. So that is how you need to understand that stative verbs do not take the ing form of verb at all at any point of given time. Now let's look at the second common mistake people make is incorrect verb form. What do you mean by incorrect verb form? Very easy to understand. Instead of working, we cannot use work, right? Why? Because obviously this is the, let me try to write this, continuous tense. What is this? Wow, that's great. Let me give myself a smiley here. All right. As I told you, this is the only shape that I can truly draw on the screen. Okay. So, as I was telling, let's get back to the theory. All right. So, incorrect verb form. What do you mean by incorrect verb form? I said if there is this particular word to consider continuous, then your verb takes on the ing form, correct? So that is what it is. The incorrect form would be I will have been work on project. Oh my god, that sounds really, really not good. Okay. Now the correct version is I will have been working on the project. I think it's pretty simple to understand this common error, guys. Now let's move on. Misunderstanding the time frame. Wow, now this is something to keep in mind. All right. What do you mean by misunderstanding? Look at the sentence. I will have been working. Now, if you go ahead and tell someone that I will have been working, now that person is still going to look at you and kind of think, is he done talking? Has he finished speaking? Why? Because I really cannot understand when will he be finished, right? Do you understand what I'm saying? That's pretty much very important to realize that, right? Now, when you go ahead and tell someone that I will have been working, what if you say that I will have been working? Then that person will say, when? So you cannot, delete the time frame. You have to include the time frame. All right. So a clear sentence will sound like this. By the time you arrive, I will have been working for 5 hours. How about that? How about that? Amazing, amazing, good. So I think you can understand when I say an unclear sentence and a clear sentence. Why? Just because of the small time factor. Please add the time frame in order to sound fluent and correct as well. And it also gives you a sense of confidence, guys. Use the time frames, use the time phrases. A very good advice indeed. All right. Confusing with future perfect. I told you this particular tense is very much confused with future perfect. But remember, when you are kind of looking at a result oriented statement, you're going to go for future perfect. Like, by the end of the day, I will have finished. Result. What is it? Emphasis on completion. Then you're going to use future perfect. But for future perfect continuous, by the end of the day, I will have been working on the report for 8 hours. So, what is happening here? Very clearly, the sentence is telling that I'm doing so much of work, okay, for eight hours. So, the emphasis on duration. So, when the emphasis is on duration, you go for future perfect continuous. And this is something that I personally have not encountered because without being your future, okay, perfect, continuous is not going to, let me draw that again. It's not going to smile. It's just going to have a sulk on his face. It's going to cry. Why do you think that happens? Because you cannot forget the bean. You cannot forget this word been. Been is the core concept of future perfect continuous. All right. Incorrect sentence will sound like this. I will have studying. No. You will not have studying. That's wrong. It's incorrect. I will have been studying. Okay. So these are the five common mistakes people do. Please go ahead again. All right. And pause the video. Same drill again. Nothing different. However, I want you to read the incorrect statement along with the correct statement and understand the difference between them and try to relate with what the common mistakes are and how do you avoid them while you're speaking. Okay, great. Let's look at a micro conversation section for today. Now it's in regards with an office project. All right, so the person A asks, when the deadline comes, how long will you have been working on this project? Person B very proudly says that I will have been working on it for nearly 2 weeks. Yeah, you can relate with it, I guess. So the person A says, that's a lot of effort. The person B says, yeah, it's been intense. In the sense, it's a lot of work. Okay. Now, that sounds serious, but this is how you make sentences when you're looking at talking in that future tense. All right. So, future perfect continuous for you guys. See, look at this sentence, work in ing form. Again, the person B also is taking the same word work and adding an ing. I'm really sorry for the in between, okay? That's obviously because I'm having a bad throat. Okay, let's go on. And this here, my friends, is known as the guided practice session and very much in need of pausing the video here and doing all these activities on your own. All right? On your own. Everything is on your own. However, let me give you a run through. Okay. So here, all right, don't go ahead and read all this controlled practice. There's nothing nothing to get scared of. It's just a fancy word. All right. Now pause and try one sentence first, and then you can go ahead and do all these all these exercises on your own. So by tomorrow morning, I will have been dash for dash hours. Same thing with the second, third, fourth, and the fifth sentence as well. I would have read this out for you. However, I think it's your job, guys. Okay. Now, step two, guided speaking. What do you mean by guided speaking? You need to convert the ideas. Nothing but turn this into future perfect continuous tense. I started working at 6 a.m. At 10 a.m. it continues. You have to the answers are already here. You just have to do one simple thing. Okay. All these are answers. See the ones which have hands pointing at them are the answers. What are you supposed to do here? You're just supposed to go ahead and read them out or read them aloud. Okay. Now that is your exercise to do. Pause the video and do the needful. Great. Let's quickly move on to the next section, which talks about what? Which talks about the personal fluency practice. What is personal fluency practice? It is somewhere you are going to talk about your life, but in terms of future perfect continuous tense. By tonight, I will have been something that you're going to do. By next month, I will have been again the same thing. By the end of the year, I will have been try to do something, right? When I reach home today, I will have been. All right. Pause and try to fill in these sentences on your own. Great. And do it, guys. Trust me, it really works magic, and that is what is important. Practice makes you perfect. You have to practice within the session itself. Don't go out of this lesson and then think that you can do this. I think you might, but then just to give you that boost of positivity, I'm kind of telling you to do this right now. Okay. 40-second speaking task. What is the 40-second speaking task? As you can see, describe your life schedule using the duration. That is nothing but future perfect continuous. There is an example model here. Again, I'm getting all my skills and trying to highlight this section for you. Wow, perfect. Okay, so this is an example model. What you really have to do is kind of read this and try to make your own sentences. By tonight, I will have been working all day. By tomorrow, I will have been preparing for my presentation. By next week, I mean, the sample here has got a lot of by tonight, by tomorrow, by next week, by the end of this year. All right, long time, 2 months. All right, my presentation all day. So these are all extras. Okay, keep that in mind, guys. All these words that I just read out now are extras. So just don't go ahead and use just the basic format. When I say describe your life schedule using duration means you have to use the time phrases. Just don't start here and end here. Don't just follow the sentence builder form. That is the formula. All right. Don't just say I plus will have been plus verb in the ing form. That's very basic. Try to enhance along with me. Great. Just to give you a recap, a very small recap, future perfect continuous is the duration of action before the future time, guys. Okay? What do you have to look out for? This word. This word is your friend when you're looking at future perfect continuous. A mini call to action for class is write one sentence using this line for today. All right? So, I just wanted to kind of let you know that with this tense, we have successfully completed all the tenses. Okay, so we will be back with a lot more grammar and its use and fun as well under the grammar series. However, I just want to tell you that if you're learning with us on YouTube, this lesson is a part of a free, grammar series. If you want guided practice and step by step building, in your confidence, you can always join us through the free course link in the description. Start free, continue only when you feel ready, guys. Bye for now and have a nice day ahead.